Off the goose, yeah, thinking that I'm too pop, getting caught with a few thoughts, cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me, giving what I got, nobody's gonna drain my energy. And I will never stop, I'm motivated by enemies, setting up shop so everybody remember me.
Hello guys, in this video I'll tell you the fourth part of history of the Italian cuisine. The last decade of the 19th century and the first 15 years of the 20th century are generally known as La Belle Époque. Relatively, economic and political stability had given to the people of Italy and Europe a much needed respite from the events of the tumultuous first 8 years of the 19th century. With this point we will have a look at the Italy in the 20th century and the history of Italian cuisine in the 20th century. These are times of celebrations and banquets where the rich, once again, much like the aristocracy of the Renaissance had done, enjoyed a hedonistic lifestyle centered on a complete abandonment to the pleasures of life. In again banquets and luscious dinners filled with delicious food, wines, spirits, and music. Dinners were held in each and every wealthy family's residence. A spread of Lucullian dishes and Tiffany and Cartier jewels. The history of Italian cuisine, the 20th century. The 20th century has been undoubtedly a time of immense changes from a historical and cultural point of view. Also, science and technology concurred to dramatically mutate the way people lived, not only in Italy but everywhere in the world. Of course, gastronomy too was invested by such changes. The invention and diffusion of cars were very likely the most evident sign of a newly acquired well-being. Due to the development of technology on a wide scale, people began to travel and communication became faster and easier than ever before. Because of this, people became more aware of the cultural difference among countries, but also within the same state. Because it was easier to witness with one's own eyes how people lived and behaved far from one's area. Easier communication also meant that ingredients traveled more easily and that a larger amount of people became aware of foreign, non-local flavors and recipes. During the years preceding the First World War, France once again was, from a culinary point of view, the most active and lively of all countries. However, Italy too witnessed a certain gastronomic ferment. In 1909, La nuova cucina delle specialità regionali was published. The text came in the wake of the Artusi Manual, emphasizing and broadening Artusi's will to define Italian cuisine by its regional differentiation. It's for this reason that La nuova cucina is so important, because for the first time recipes from all over Italy were organically collected in large numbers, including those from areas Artusi had, even in his later editions, neglected. Recipes recorded simply so that all users could try them and learn to appreciate them. From simple recipes of simple execution to complex preparations, La nuova cucina included them all. Annetti, the author, relied very little on written sources and almost exclusively on the orality of recipes, collecting them directly from the people who had made them. A great ethnographic as well as culinary work. The Great War and Italian cuisine. The years of First World War were difficult also when it came to nutrition. Battles and the militarization of the areas of the country, especially the northeast, provoked immense damage to cultures and to consequent diminution of produce availability. People didn't eat enough food, and even when managing to do so, may have lacked sufficient quantities of essential nutrients. This caused cereal deficiencies that resulted in the spreading of illnesses such as pellagra. The situation was dramatic for soldiers too, with their food rations diminishing day after day. The quality of food consumed on the front was low too. It was usually cooked behind the front line and delivered to it at night time. This meant the rice or pasta given daily to soldiers reached them already mushy and with a glue-like consistency. The broth would turn into jelly. Bread and meat reached the trenches as hard as rocks. Quantities of this unappealing grub were, on the other hand, quite good and generally higher than those available to, for instance, Austro-Hungarian soldiers. Italian soldiers in the trenches before the battle rations were enriched, so to speak, with some chocolate, gelatined meats, biscuits, and sometimes spirits. In many museums dedicated to the First World War, you will still be able to see tinned goods that used to be distributed to soldiers. Meat, anchovies, candied fruits contained in cans embossed or decorated with patriotic mottos. Let's move on for later years and the history of Italian cuisine in the 20th century. Italian futurist cuisine. After the end of the World War, Italy witnesses the diffusion of the ideas of futurism as outlined by artist Tommaso Marinetti. This didn't only change the way we produced and looked at art in all its forms, but also tried to introduce spectacular change in the kitchen. Futurism was all about power, change, novelty, and force. Ideals futurists tried to apply to gastronomy too. Futurist theorists wanted to break the mold of traditional gastronomy and hoped chemistry and technology together could offer new culinary horizons to the country. The aesthetic ideals of futurism quickly penetrated the realm of gastronomy, trying to impose those very same ideals of speed, movement, progress, creativity, and colors already highlighted in the Manifesto Futurista for Visual Arts. In a poll entitled Inchiesta per un'arte culinaria imperiale, an inquest to create an imperial culinary art, aiming at getting people's opinion for the creation of a cuisine apt for an empire. As such, Mussolini considered Italy after its poor colonial conquests. Italians who ask some peculiar questions indeed. For instance, do you think Italians believe in the unchangeable dogma of traditional cuisine? Or even better, don't you think that mechanics, speed, war, which became a daily occurrence of everyone's life, should help to determine and creating an entirely new type of cuisine? The questionnaire continued, asking whether the public believed that the color and movement typical of futurist art could be used also in the kitchen and help to create new dishes, and whether creatively used to discover and experiment with unusual, cheap ingredients could help to supply food when money was scarce.